Welcome to the KVJ After the Show podcast.
Kevin's eyes look insane, but he's got new hair. Virginia is a witch, and she farts in her chair. Jason is a spaz who's got an old man's ass. Welcome to the After the Show podcast.
Alrighty, hello, and welcome to March 14th, 3.14 on the digital date. It is Pi Day. And boy, if you missed the epic Pi brawl that happened towards the tail end of the regular show, you definitely need to go watch the video on that. Well, that was something.
The angle that Denny's had from his studio on his iPhone, it looked like two animals just going at it
wild, yeah.
in the wild, and one animal was clearly getting his ass beat.
Amazing.
And Denny's is playing it again right now on KVJ TV. That's not even the best angle. I mean, you can see everything going on from his studio. we'll put that together later on today. You guys will see it.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think while we're in the old studio, we got to get all these brawls out of the way. Yeah, we might get a talking to. We do that in the new studio. Yeah, you dumbasses.
I would not try that in the new studio. I will be a very good boy in the new studio.
Yeah, we need to do everything messy and destructive here and get it out of our system.
Okay, I will text Hulk Hoagie.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was some fun stuff. So there you go. I don't know how you guys celebrate Pi Day, but that's what we do around here.
Let's go get the blood flowing.
That's right. It's a nice exercise. Fantastic.
Oh, tomorrow is going to be awful. I have to drink tonight. And tomorrow, I think.
Let me see. We got some interesting stuff here. In fact, one thing that's really cool is we've been talking a little bit about Sugar Tit, South Carolina here this week, a town we didn't even know of, and then got confirmation from our buddy Goober up in that area. He's kind of there around Clemson and that part of South Carolina. It's kind of like right in that area. It's an actual town. We found out why they named it Sugar Tits. It goes a ways back to the ladies out working in the fields would take a little bit of sugar cane and kind of put it in a blanket and get it kind of like shaped like it was a big old nipple, and they put it in their baby's mouth, and they keep the baby content so they could work with it in the fields. And they called that a sugar tit. And then that's how it became that. Now they've got a distillery there and everything. And we had found out yesterday that the owner of the distillery, the Sugar Tit Distillery, is actually from Jensen Beach and is a South Floridian. And I believe that Bob and Kat's going to be back in South Florida this weekend. What up, Bob?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Hey, what's up, Kat? How are you?
I'm good. You guys great?
Hey, we're doing great. We were talking about your distillery, and we were showing photos of it yesterday. It looks so
cool,
quaint
cool.
and awesome.
Yeah, so friends of ours, of course, from Jensen Beach, Port St. Lucie, called us telling us that you were talking about us on the show. I'm like, I got to call them. I don't know if you remember meeting me, but I met you guys when you first came into West Palm Beach over 25 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we met one time you did a thing at a bar in Palm Beach. I was there. You did something there, So I ran into you a few times. I used to call into the show quite a bit,
Yeah,
too.
he's always calling the show.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we miss you guys. When did you guys head up to South Carolina?
We've been up here 17 years now.
Oh, wow.
Time's just flying by, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you love that area, I assume?
I do. It's nice, but I do miss South Florida. I miss the beaches.
We'll be back.
Okay.
We're thinking about moving back eventually if we sell the distillery, but we'll see how that goes.
How did you wind up in Sugar Tit? I mean, I had never even heard of the place, and now all of a sudden I'm like, what a great name.
Yeah, so it's really an area. It's not a town. It's just an area of South Carolina.
Okay.
It's in Spartanburg County.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to work at Pratt & Whitney. I was a designer designing jet engines at Pratt & Whitney, and I came to South Carolina to work for GE to design wind turbines.
Okay.
So we ended up moving out into the country, not far from Greenville and Spartanburg.
Mm-hmm.
And the area, the address was really the town of Greer, but it was out in the country. but the area was called Sugar Tit. So the first time we found out we lived in Sugar Tit, we thought that was pretty cool.
There's a little old lady in a Baptist church.
That told my wife about it.
Really?
I swear. I made Bobby get me a Garmin. Is that what that was? Garmin, right? Because,
Yeah.
nothing on Florida roads.
Mm-hmm.
So I was getting lost. So she said to me, "Oh, honey," she said, "if you get lost, you just tell them you live in Sugar Tit. They'll tell you how to get home." I almost died.
And she told her that in the church. So my wife's like, in the church.
Right.
I'm like, yeah. So it was pretty funny. So that's how we ended up here. And then we met some people from church, and they brought some supposedly homemade moonshine over to our house. We had a little cookout and gathering.
Mm-hmm.
As we're sipping on this moonshine, I said to Kat, I said, what would be a good name for moonshine? Sugar Tit Moonshine.
Oh, yeah.
I said, I'm going to trademark that name, which I did. We have a registered trademark for Sugar Tit Moonshine.
Yep.
And I'm going to put it on hats and shirts and go to the local flea market over here, make some extra money.
Yep.
Because and then sell the trademark and all that, try to make some money. Because we're moving back to Florida. We're not staying here. We kept our house in Jensen Beach. And
Okay.
That was the plan.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that, and everyone kept saying, this hats and shirts are really cool, but where's the moonshine? We want Sugar Tit Moonshine. So I go back to Kat, and I say, what do you think about making moonshine? She goes, how the heck are you going to do that? You work 10 hours a day at GE. When are you going to have time?
And the Yankees in the South making moonshine? Come on.
Right. That's true, yes.
So I said, I have no idea, but every time we have a good idea, we never follow through. Let's try it. If it fails, I'm not going to quit my job at GE, and we're still going back to Florida. So
Yeah.
Let's try it. So we did, and now we've been open. Labor Day will be 10 years we've been open.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool.
And we have distribution in South Carolina, North Carolina, Mississippi, and Florida now.
Well, it's just genius. That's so amazing that you did that, because what you're saying is exactly what I thought. I'm like, the merchandising alone, if you got that out there, how many people from just wherever are going to buy Sugar Tit Moonshine shirts and hats? And I mean, I would wear that everywhere, just not even knowing about the place.
Exactly. I've got 3 packages I got to mail after I talk to you guys. I'm going to go to the post office and mail 3 packages of shirts and other stuff people are buying.
And speaking of that, we're going to need your sizes if he's going to bring you some shirts.
I'm coming down Sunday, so I can come down to the studio if you want me to, and I can bring some moonshine and I can bring some shirts for you.
Yeah, I'd love that. In fact, you know what? You pop in if you can about this time when we're doing the after the show, just because, I know those little old ladies like to cuss in those Baptist churches in the South, but we can't say Sugar Tit, I don't think, on the radio. So
would Monday be a good time to come down?
Perfect. Yeah. Join us on Monday. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'll do that. And then because I actually have my boat at my son's house in Fort Pierce, and we're going to go offshore a day or two.
We're gonna have great weather for it. That's good.
Yeah. So we have, people, if it's okay to say it, they can buy our merchandise on sugartitmoonshine.com.
Yeah, absolutely.
They can go there and buy our merch, and then
but they have to come because it's the experience.
It's the experience.
Yeah.
We do tastings and tours and all that kind of stuff of the distillery.
If people don't know that area, it is an amazing area. It really is. I mean, we were up there through there in Thanksgiving. A lot of my family live in Anderson and Clemson in that area. So
I remember you telling me that in the past that you have family up there.
Yeah. So
but anytime you come and see us. Give me a call.
I will. In fact, when I was up there, I was talking to Goob, who we had on, and that's my plan is to get up there. I want to get there when it's warmer and enjoy your guys' lakes that you have up there. So we're going to come up and do some lake activity.
So you were talking to Goob, you said?
Goober, yeah. He's the same thing. He's a Treasure Coast transplant that's right up in that area. So he confirmed to let us know about Sugar Tit.
Yeah. But it's a nice area, and we live in a small town called Reedville. It's Reidville.
Okay.
Reedville.
Plastic light, one gas station.
And the other funny part is I'm mayor pro tem of the town.
Are you really? That's so funny.
I am. So I ran for election. I got elected as a councilman, and then the council made me mayor pro tem. So if the mayor's out of town, I do the mayoral duties, which is pretty fun too.
I love those small southern towns. That's great.
Right?
Hey, Grant is asking, Bob, what is the ABV on that moonshine you make?
Yeah, so I've got ones, they go from 36 proof on my creams to 120 proof on my clears.
Wow, okay.
Oh, and that's the best one.
And that's the best
one. The better they taste.
It comes off the still at 190 proof.
Wow, that's crazy.
And then we'll break it down into what we need it to be with, and I use certified North Carolina mountain spring water that I get from Hendersonville, North Carolina.
Oh yeah.
To proof down the high proof to a lower proof, and then we make our own flavors too. So we use all natural flavorings. We make everything ourselves. It's all done by hand.
We're award-winning.
Yeah,
and Spartanburg's best, I think, for 5 years now.
No, 7 years in a row.
Wow.
That's the Spartanburg County.
That's awesome. How do you get in and get a recipe? And do you have to have a special license to make moonshine? Because I remember I thought once upon a time making moonshine was illegal.
It was, and it still is if you don't have a license. So you have to have a state license. It's called a micro distillery license.
Okay.
From the state of South Carolina. Then you have to have a license from the Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau. That's your federal license, and that's who you pay a lot of taxes to.
Mm-hmm.
And the state takes a lot of taxes. But so you have to have those two licenses, and then of course I have to have my town business license.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you have to have a sales tax license.
Well, good for you guys. I can't wait to see y'all on Monday. Enjoy your trip back down here to South Florida, and I'm so happy that Sugar Tit Moonshine is doing so well for you.
Yeah, thank you. You just got to let me know what size shirts you want.
Okay. I'm gonna have Denny's relay that here. I'll put you on hold real quick, and we'll get that taken care of. Okay, Bob?
Sounds cool. I'll see you Monday.
Nice to talk to you.
All right, good talking to you, Kat.
Really appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah, don't forget to come on in when you're here.
Oh, I know. No, we're gonna make a pilgrimage. Trust me. We'll get a group of people up there. We'll come invade Sugar Tit Moonshine.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Kevin, good to talk to y'all.
Okay, good talking to you guys too. That's awesome.
What a sweet couple.
Yeah, it is. That's really a cool little side hustle. I love that kind of concept. And that was so smart of Bob to pick up something like that and trademark it like he did and sell those shirts and the merch.
Genius.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the kind of stuff like college kids would be wearing, Sugar Tit Moonshine.
Totally.
Yeah. So pretty smart. All right, let me see. Got some other things going on here. Like Jane, she said, hey, I never got to hear, how long was it that your son Cannon lost the Hard Rock betting app when the Queen took it away from him? So I think Caitlin said, he was going to get it back in like an hour or something like that, or a day. I think it lasted the weekend, because I think it was Monday. And yeah, he got it back. She caved pretty quick. Caitlin was not wrong.
I would like to know exactly what day, because I did have Saturday on the betting pool.
I don't think we got through. I think it was Monday I started getting emails again about it, and I had asked the Queen, I'm like, is this you that's trying to sign back up again now after you made this grand gesture to delete it? And she's like, no, that wasn't me. That was Cannon. But then I started getting where he's making deposits to make his bets. So I get transactional stuff for all of the things he does. So I think he lost it for 48 hours. Caitlin thinks it was 24. I'm not sure. Probably.
Caitlin keeping it real.
Yeah. My wife likes making these big sweeping. Whenever she has a big punishment, she's coming down all heavy, and you're like, yeah, this ain't gonna last. Yeah, Cannon. I don't know what it is. He got everybody in that family wrapped around his finger.
He's the youngest.
He is. He's a little baby, so ain't nobody too harsh on Cannon. Cesar from Green Acres said, it would be great if Kevin Bird and Denny's would join the new KVJShow fan page. Virginia already joined. It's just some simple rules, no spam, no politics, no religion posts. Or what is it? It's just on Facebook you go KVJ Nation?
I don't.
Yes, I think they started a new fan page. So there's multiple ones. I'm on all of them.
Oh, you are? Okay.
What, is there a civil war within the fan pages?
I don't know, but I don't get involved. I want nothing to do with no war. I like everybody.
You love a gender war.
Yeah.
I love a gender war, not a KVJ Nation war.
Yeah, we don't want a KVJ Nation war.
Yeah. And just to let you know as well, we don't necessarily control the music and commercials that get played on our show. Some of the fan pages that are out there, that's not, KVJ that we do. People do it. And I know because some people had barked at me about some stuff that was on the fan page and saying I needed to police it. I'm like, I don't even know about it. So
I didn't even know about it either.
No.
There's a few of them. Mm-hmm. I barely even, honestly, I don't even check my personal social media anymore. I kind of just go with KVJ stuff now. I ain't got time for, that's a lot of social media, man.
But anybody can start a fan page, as Cesar has found out.
Right.
He started this one, and it belongs to him, so he controls, who's on it, what's said, and all that. Like, we don't control any of those fan pages. We encourage them and we support them and we want all of them to be fun, but we don't control the content.
Yeah, if you find yourself on one, because what somebody complained to me about was the political chatter that was happening on one of the KVJ fan pages, and they're like, you guys need to, I thought you didn't do Paul. I'm like, that's not me.
And there's nothing we can do about it.
Well,
either.
that's how you know it's not us, because we don't do that.
Right.
There's nothing we can do about it.
So
Right, but if you don't like it, just drop that one and maybe pick up a different one, because there are several KVJ fan pages.
Yep. And I got an email here. I was telling you a little bit about the story of the Sticks, which is an interesting thing here because, look, Florida has a very disturbing racial past, and Palm Beach has its own story about the servants that had worked there. And this is Stat Girl Whitney that put this together. She was kind of looking to see if there was any kind of article about it because we talked about it. And the legend of it is that some of the servants were living on Palm Beach and that Flagler spread a rumor that there was a circus going on the mainland, which there wouldn't have been. You think about in the time, the late 1800s, early 1900s, this area wasn't that settled. So if you went, it was probably scary to go onto the mainland.
Yeah.
So you probably felt safer on Palm Beach. And then that was the story, was that was just a ruse to get them off the island. Then when they left their places, then they burned them down and took over. And so she was looking, and there are some articles about it because somebody had texted in and they had said, yeah, I used to work at the Flagler Museum, and they hated that story. And they were always trying to downplay it and say there was never any proof. And so Stat Girl Whitney, she went and she found there were some articles that talked about the Sticks and how it needed to be done away with. That is from the Miami News, February 19th, 1904. It said, West Palm Beach says the Sticks must go. And so it was kind of a thing. So that was 1904. And then we had heard that the Bradley brothers, one of them being E.R. Bradley, who had the racehorses, and he and his brother had bought up a chunk of Palm Beach. And, so the bar has its name because of him. But it says here in February 1912, they divided the area into 230 residential lots. And then they were ordered to clear the neighborhood. And so they called them squatters, and they helped move their belongings across the old wooden bridge in handcarts. And then they cleared out the land, piled up the trash, and burned it on the spot. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting. There might be a little bit of truth to it. Some of it might be conflated, but there are some references to it. So, yeah, they talked about cleaning out the Sticks, and all squatters have been served notices to quit. An extensive hygeria from the plant will take place in a day or two. So
it's crazy that there's not more stuff on it. I'm kind of surprised about that. And when did it, and what time, or what period in time did we really start taking unbelievable, document of what's going on?
Yeah, well, from that you had early news reports in the early 1900s, and keep in mind too, this area wasn't as wasn't metropolitan at all. I mean, you're in the deep sticks, and a lot of people were probably like, I'm not going there. Because, all we had was mosquitoes, gators, scary animals, all that kind of stuff. And you took the railway in. And I think at the time, it really was just a bunch of, wealthy white people for the most part that were hopping on Flagler's train and coming down because you had the breakers. Maybe it was called the Palm Beach Inn at the time.
That's been around for a while?
Yeah, that was late 1800s they had that, but it was wooden originally, and it burnt down.
It's crazy.
And then they rebuilt it maybe 1922, somewhere around there.
There's pictures of that. There's pictures of it on fire.
How did it burn down? Do they know?
Fire.
I mean, I know that. But
what caused the fire?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Dick?
Yeah. I don't know, but what's fascinating about those photos is and I think maybe it was like in the summer, and all the ladies are in long dresses, petticoats, or whatever you call them, and the guys are wearing suits, and I'm like, how bad did their balls smell?
So if you go in the breakers and you go to the right, like you can go either right or left, go in, go to the right, past the concierge desk on your left, and immediately turn left. on the walls of the hall right there. That's where the pictures are of the breakers back in the day. You can see the ladies in the petticoats like Kevin's talking about, and you can see pictures of the breakers burning.
It's funny because there's footage on YouTube, I think from 1920, 1930-ish Miami, and obviously everything looks a lot different.
Yeah.
And everyone is dressed in these suits. I thought the same thing going, their balls must be so sticky.
I know. That's all I think immediately of their balls. I'm like,
Them titties got to be so perspiring.
yeah.
You think immediately of testicles first.
You just think of just how uncomfortable. I feel like if you went out to go get your mail, you had to go get dressed up.
Back in your house, it was hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I imagine at the time too, if they were doing something, they would put their own spin on it, and they're not going to say if it really did happen, just how big of dicks they were and doing it. You know, so there are some clippings and references to the sticks, but you know exactly how that transaction went down, how legal it would have been. You know, and then keep in mind too, if you were black, you didn't have the same kind of rights. So they probably didn't even care that time.
It's sad. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting, though, that it feels like that story is something that maybe they're trying to suppress a bit and, kind of rewrite it and be like, yeah, it didn't really happen that way. So I don't know definitely what the answer is. I know what the legend is, but even with what Stat Girl Whitney sent us, it's kind of left as like this is the legend of the sticks. And there's no necessary confirmation of did it really go down that way?
Think about just back in the day how many horrible things were never even reported, and you have no history of it. You don't even know, and time goes on, and you don't have a news article. You got no news clipping. You just have.
When no one's able to report it, the victims probably died, passed away. The perpetrators passed away. Like, who's going to tell the story?
Yeah, just to the history of humanity.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, and Florida's got unfortunately many of those stories. There's a movie that was done in '97 about Rosewood, Florida, where a whole town was burnt down. So you can see that. It's got a good cast. Got Don Cheadle in it, Ving Rhames, John Voight is in that. So, yeah, it's an interesting thing to see, to give you a little taste of what had happened. Got an email here. Says, I saw this thread in a local group, and I just want to get your thoughts on this craziness. It was a couple that had a wedding, and they had a tattoo artist at their wedding that was giving out free small tattoos. But you could only choose from the options that they had. For example, you could get the couple's wedding date.
What?
That is awful.
No one wants your wedding date as a tattoo on their body.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this couple is annoying.
Who the fuck would get that?
You guys are idiots.
Or you could do this really long tattoo. It was hashtag some stupid hashtag about the bride and groom.
No, that's shit.
And if you wanted the free tattoo, you could get one of those too. Now, the comments were like, I mean, is this kind of narcissistic of the bride and groom to expect their guests to honestly want a tattoo of something about the bride and groom's wedding?
Completely narcissistic and out of touch with reality.
It is out of touch. The only person I can see getting that might be some relative that is, I don't know, a little eccentric, and I don't even see them doing it.
Yeah, you would have to be like a sister or brother or the groom or bride themselves.
And even then, I don't think you get it.
None of your guests that aren't related to you are going to do that.
If you're going to do free tattoos and you're going to only do 3 things that the tattoo artist can do, maybe a heart, maybe a lightning, but just make it universal.
Right.
Not their date.
Yeah, that's amazing. And somebody said, what if they get divorced a year later? Are you going to pay for my cover-up or my laser removal? And one person said, yeah, it's not narcissistic, but it is really weird. I hope somebody told us that, I don't know.
It's self-absorbed.
Yes, it is.
And it's stupid.
It's out of touch and stupid. It's kind of like you guys are too lost in the sauce.
Yeah, Chicago Lulu said, I wouldn't get it if it was my own children.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
Dumb.
That is dumb.
Like, what the hell? Yes, people do some weird stuff, man. They really do. I saw this. Can you believe that the legal defense fund for that Luigi Mangione is
Mangione.
Mangione?
Yes.
Is it Mangione?
Luigi Mangione.
Okay. $722,000 now.
Yeah, because people are just fed up with the healthcare system. And I think anybody who's been wronged or denied, and United Healthcare denies the most, it's a fact. Anybody who's been denied and pissed or lost a family member because they died after being denied.
Yeah.
They probably want to help Luigi, and they probably think of him as a vigilante.
But, I mean, you're just throwing your money away at that point. They've got this guy on video. I mean, the evidence against this Luigi is...
I don't think people are donating because they think they're going to get him off. I think they're donating because they want to make a statement.
But can't you give your money somewhere else that's making a better statement? Like paying off medical debt for somebody?
Kevin's got some good points he's making.
Depends on what's important to you. What kind of statement is important?
Well, how do you know? I mean, Kevin's right, though. Who would you rather help? This guy who killed somebody who you know who's going to lose, or someone else who really needs some help that money could go to and make them...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or having somebody that, it'd be nice if some politicians would make it their mission to be like, we've got to fix the healthcare industry and get this thing under wraps because it is nuts what's going on. Yeah, $36,500 is the biggest donor they had. Some anonymous person just gave that money for his defense fund. So that's writing a pretty solid check.
And look, I don't know nothing about the law, and maybe if you have great lawyers, maybe by getting all that money, you get a reduced sentence. If you have
all that money buys the best legal defense, and there's always maneuvering that can be done by lawyers. The more maneuvering that can be done, the less your sentence will be.
I mean, murderers get off all the time. It's crazy. Some murder cases, you'll hear the facts of the case, and you go, "Oh, this is a slam dunk. This fucker's gonna fry," and then they only serve 12 years because some weird thing in the law.
Some of the evidence may not be admissible in court because of the way it was maintained or collected.
Yeah, a police officer fucked up, and you can't use exactly.
And if you have a good lawyer and they know how to find every loophole and they exhaust every loophole and every appeal and every this, like all that is expensive, and you will get a better outcome.
The worst is when you see everyone in the building, everyone in the world knows that the son of a bitch did it, and we're talking the worst kinds of crime, especially to a child or something, and they don't get the first degree, they get the second degree because of some fucking loophole or mistake. And oh boy, does that make me so mad, because it's clearly murder one.
Yeah,
but they're gonna get off on it, and less of a sentence.
Legal representation is everything.
KR said they don't actually have video or a photo of him actually doing the shooting, do they?
They have video, but they can't see that it's him. He's wearing a hoodie.
Yeah. And so
he's got his back to the camera.
Yeah, what they've done is they've just contextually put together where he's been, what he was wearing, and they said, okay, it's the same. The eyebrows gave him away in that one photo, and so they know all of his movements, and they can time him out to that place where
he's got the best eyebrows.
Had the motive, he had the opportunity, he had the weapon.
This will be a whole conspiracy theory. It'll be, it's not him, it is him. Fuck you, politics.
Yeah. Well, that's what a good attorney will do, because if they can come in and say, hey, we're going to be throwing a lot of questions at the jury, and there's a chance that, we could spin this one way or another, and, who knows, we might get a hung jury, and he might be, then the prosecutor, that's when they settle, and then he'll get a better deal by having a better attorney.
If your attorney just keeps raking him over the coals, but all that requires billable hours.
Yeah, I understand now when you say it. They're building money to get the best lawyers possible to get a reduced sentence of sorts if they have. And who knows what other kind of evidence they have. The public doesn't know everything about the case.
You are right. And, they have to disclose everything they've got on him to his defense. And so that legal team can look over all of that evidence and come up with all of the reasons why it wasn't Luigi. But all that takes time and hours, and all that takes money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when that finally does go to court. I imagine that's going to be some circus, right?
Oh, my gosh. The circusist.
Is that a word?
I don't know.
Yes, it is.
This doesn't even sound like a real word either. psyllium husk fiber.
That sounds like some kind of mushroom thing.
Engineer Keith says, because we had mentioned it the other day, there's so many, there's always, and look, I'm plugged into the health world, and there's always something new. I'm like, I hadn't even heard of that. Like, I'd not heard of the psyllium husk fiber. Engineer Keith saying, it's the shit, yo. He said, it's not bunk. It adds fiber to your diet, and the sugared version from Metamucil tastes like orange juice. It's tasty, but you got to drink it quickly after stirring, or else the texture gets a little weird.
And what's it do for you?
Make you crap yourself.
So it's just good for dumping?
Yeah, everybody's kind of on a kick about this gut health and fiber and all that kind of stuff these days. It's the hot thing now, and so, yeah, I mean, I had read it the other day, but before that, I was really... Psyllium husk fiber is not something I was familiar with.
The girl that does my lymphatic drainage, she got me doing 5 prunes a day. I eat 5 dried prunes a day. And man, that works nice.
I don't want to talk about this no more.
I'm just saying.
Engineer Keith, look what you've done.
Virginia's like, oh yeah, here we go.
Oh, Kev, I eat 5 prunes on regular, Kev.
And the calcium's good for your bones. It's just good for menopausal women. 5 prunes a day. Do it.
You can take a dump in the bushes.
That's right.
You can take a dump on Super Pie.
He needs to have a dump on
He
him.
does. He deserves a steamer.
Nah, you're not going to see that guy around for a while.
That guy's broken.
Oh, man. And Angie talking about the Ozempic stuff. It's interesting to hear everybody's individual stories with it. I find the GLP-1 medications that everybody seems to be on these days pretty fascinating to see where it is. A lot of great results. People even not wanting to drink as much.
It's
talking
true.
about other cravings and whatnot. It's pretty insane. She said, my experience, my husband really wanted to do it, and I agreed to have a support system and, of course, lose a little bit of weight. I only wanted to drop 10 to 15 pounds, but I ended up losing 30.
Wow.
But the reason for me is because it made me so sick. For 2 weeks, I was in bed. I couldn't eat or drink. I was constantly nauseated and throwing up bile. It was tough.
Your dose was too high then, so you have to come off of it. You can't. Not everybody's system can handle the full dose that they try to get you to take because they want to sell you more medicine. Guess what? It's a business. So they dose everybody at a high level. I took literally half of what they told me to take each and every time when I took it. Now, I haven't taken it in months, but you don't have to take what they give you. And if you take a dose that gets you nauseous, you really should lay up and not take as much.
Can I just do it like one pricking in my titty? Just like one dosage in my left tit.
That's not how it works. It's not a fat absorber.
I know.
You could get lipo in one tit, though.
I'm just kidding. I was trying to make jokes. It wasn't very good, and then it comes back to lipo. I get it. You think I need lipo.
She said my husband, though, had no side effects, and he's still on the shot doing well. So I guess it's just different for each person. And that's why I am fascinated to hear everybody's story, because they all feel unique.
A lot of people I know that's on it that are, I wouldn't say big drinkers, but they like to tear it up. They say the same thing. They go, I just don't even want to drink. I don't want any alcohol. And if I do, I'm sipping on one, and that's all I can really. I mean, that's how you were at my Halloween party.
I know. I had one drink, and I ralphed on the side of his house.
The one time I want her coming in like a drunken fucking witch and coming, she's the most sober church lady. It's like, I think I'm going to leave. I don't feel very well. I'm not drinking. I'm like, what the shit is this?
And I left all those people.
She left like at 9:30. I go, what is this? Yeah, because she was on the semaglutide.
So is it just you have zero desire for alcohol, or is it that the thought of it makes you nauseous?
Both. So your pleasure centers, the desire goes down, and you also have a little bit of nausea if you've taken a higher dose of the medicine. And that was when I first started taking it. And so I took the dose that they told me to take. And it was just not for my system. It was too much for my system. I only needed half the dose. But when I came into the party at Jaybird's house, I had given myself a full dose.
And then threw up on my house, then hopped on her broom, and then took off back to the Quest.
Got out of there.
But left all these, what she would call randos. She's so against randos.
Foreign randos.
Oh, I don't care about that.
They weren't even from this country.
They just wanted coffee.
They wanted coffee, and Jaybird's like, I have coffee.
What, are you running a diner?
Well, I was just trying to be a good host, and I remember sitting in the alleyway of my house going, "You're never doing this again." By myself. You're never doing this again.
Last time.
Last party ever.
And some people are sober, some people aren't goofballs, some people are flying in from England.
What a time. All right, y'all. That's going to do it for us. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy this weather while we got it. We will see you back here on Monday. Goodbye.